Hi guys, welcome to another video from Electric Car Australia. Well, apologies, it's been a few weeks since we've had our last upload, and being a bit of a newbie to YouTube, I'm having lots of trouble with the editing and the quality of the videos, so please bear with us. We've recently done a short road trip, and unfortunately the glare etc in the video and camera shots was really bad, so we'll be hoping to upload that over the next couple of days, but I need to do a lot more editing, and unfortunately I'll have to do some of the voiceover actually sitting at home, which it wasn't meant to be like that, but that's how it is. So I just wanted to provide you guys a quick update. If you've seen our last couple of videos, you'll know that we've recently bought the MG ZS EV, the Australian version, and we picked it up in late November. Really busy time of the year. We've got jobs, so we work, and we've also got a small online wooden toy business, so November, December is obviously a really busy time of the year for that. We've got a couple of young children. We had a camping trip booked in down at Tallebudgera on the Gold Coast, so we took our second vehicle down there, towing a camper trailer. So unfortunately, since we've picked the ZS EV up, we haven't actually had much time to spend with it and do any videos. So that's the purpose of this one. Quick video, a little bit of a drive around closest to where we live. So we'll show you a little bit of scenery in sort of Pre-Style Road, Ford Road area, and through some of the Brisbane City Council Koala Reservation areas. So stay with us, and I'll provide a little bit of an initial update on what we think of the car and some of the other videos that we've got coming up shortly. Stay with us. Well, here we are on Pre-Style Road. It's in Rochedale South, and I thought, rather than looking at my ugly mug while I have a chat, I'd show you guys a little bit of the scenery around here. This will also go into Ford Road, so it's through, as I mentioned, some of the Brisbane City Council Koala Reserves. Quite a nice spot, and a bit jealous at some of the nice houses out through here as well. So anyway, back to the Australian model ZS EV. So we've done a couple of shortish road trips. I recorded one of those recently, so that video will be going up, and that one's about planning your trip, so planning a road trip in an EV and the battery charging stops. So there's a couple of really good apps that let you plan your trip, so the distances, where you'll need to charge, how long, all that sort of stuff. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and you'll be notified when that one comes up. So hopefully we'll have that out in the next couple of days. So within those couple of road trips we've done and the time we've spent in the car, we've noticed a couple of little things that we hadn't picked up on earlier. One, there's a small inconsistent knock in the steering, so we're trying to nut down or replicate that, so it's intermittent, happens every now and again. So we haven't spoken to the dealer about it as yet, because the first thing he'll ask or say is, well, when does it do it? And because it's intermittent, it's really tricky to track it down, so we're still working on that one, and if and when we sort of do that and we get a result, we'll talk a little bit more about that one. Nothing major, but it's just there's something doesn't seem quite right there. One of the other things I noticed is the seats on a trip aren't quite as comfy as I had initially thought. Now look, for around town they're absolutely perfect, no problems at all. But when you're sitting in the car for 2-3 hours, my wife hasn't experienced it, but I've noticed just the support under your, sort of behind your knee, under your leg there, again, it's just not quite right. Can't put my finger on why, but my accelerator leg aches a little bit. So yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just me, haven't been able to get the right adjustment on the seat yet, but yeah, I've noticed that one. We talked about in one of our previous videos the tinting, so we got the tinting done because literally you couldn't live with this car in a tropical climate or subtropical climate like Queensland in summer without having the glass tinted, so we've done that. That wasn't a problem. Another little thing I've noticed, and this is probably more being an SUV, which I'm not used to driving. I prefer sedans, hatchback, station wagons, etc. So the position of my arm, I'm a bit of a lazy driver. I like to rest my arm on the top of the door, like the internal part of the door, and it's too high, so it just feels uncomfortable. It's just one of those things. So that's a personal thing. The armrest on the door is too low to rest your arm on it while you're holding the steering wheel, and the top of the door card's too high. Again, that's a personal thing. You can't really hold that against the car. But the whole idea of this channel is to give you guys an honest feedback from an owner, and some of those things will be personal things, and some of those will be actually practical critiques of the actual car itself. As far as consumption goes on the trips, again, we'll go into a lot more detail of this in the video, but look, it wasn't too bad. Averaged about 17 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. That went up slightly when we were going up some small mountain ranges, obviously come well down below that when we were coming back out of the ranges with the regen braking. But in general, you can plan for about 17 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres, and that's on a trip. So that's a mixture of, whoa, big pothole there, so we'll just dodge that one. That's a mix of sort of 60, 80, 100 kilometre an hour, and as you'll see in the upcoming video, it's a regional road, similar to the one we're looking at the screen now, so it's not by any means a motorway or freeway. We'll be doing some of those videos further down the track. We did have the aircon on, we had the kids in, went to Darling Downs Zoo out at Pilkington in regional Queensland in the Lockyer Valley, so it was by no means a motorway test to the Gold Coast or anything like that. So again, the video there will show the practical everyday experience that we've had. Charging's been really easy. We've done, I would say, 80% of our charging at home, just in a normal 10 amp power point. So we do have an off-grid solar system at home. We're a little bit limited with the inverter capacity on that, and of course we're also limited to when the sun's out. So we've been charging as much as we can with our off-grid system, which we can charge for free. If we've needed to use the car more the next day and we haven't had enough range, we'll plug it into the 10 amp power point overnight. And we've done a little bit of fast charging at the local Coles supermarkets, and as you'll see on the upcoming video, some rapid charging at University of Queensland's Gatton campus on the 50 kilowatt charger. So most of it's been at home, 10 amp plug, no problems at all. I'm an advocate for, unless you really need it, not spending the couple of $1,000 on installing a 7 kilowatt or 22 kilowatt home charger. I don't really think it's worth it for most people. So yeah, we've certainly experienced that up to this point. So look, everything else in the car's been great. It's comfortable inside, the kids like it. It's a bubbly sort of SUV shape inside, so lots of space for the kids to move around. We had the pram in the back yesterday, or as they call it in the UK, the push chair. It's quite a biggish one, fitted in no problems. Again, we'll do separate videos on all this stuff, but that's been fine. And look, what else can I say? At this point, we're still really happy with the car. The touchscreen, so the infotainment system, it is a little bit laggy. As Bjorn would say from Tesla Bjorn, it's not snappy whatsoever. It's probably one of the poorer ones that I've used. But having said that, I'm not really a gadgets person, so I'm not chopping and changing and into the menus all the time. I'll tend to set the radio and just leave it. It is a little bit frustrating if you're looking to use the inbuilt navigation system, because that is a bit slow and laggy, and It's the craziest thing. When you turn the navigation on, each time you have to accept the terms and conditions. It's crazy. So that takes an extra 30 seconds, and so from when you turn the inbuilt nav on to actually using it, it's about 2 minutes, which overall scheme of things is not much, but yeah, there's little things like that where they could put a bit more thought into it. But we come back to the price of the car. You know, we're tens of thousands under where some of the other cars are sitting, or EVs are sitting, which do have better systems. So you've got to expect some of that. So yeah, the infotainment, not quite as snappy as it should be, but I can live with that. And it's got a few knobs, etc., and controls, so your climate or your heating and cooling, etc., you've got knobs to control all that, so I just use that. And before we wrap up, one of the things I'll briefly mention is all the safety features. So obviously this car has MG Pilot, which is and I might get shot down in the comments section for this, a semi-autonomous thing, so it certainly helps you drive the car. It has forward collision avoidance, it has pedestrian collision avoidance, all that sort of stuff. Now, as I said, I'm not a real techie person, a bit old school, and I prefer to actually drive the car myself and not have all these bells and whistles and assistance measures. So we'll do a separate full video on just what I've experienced with it and what we've got turned on and what we don't have turned on. But in a nutshell, we've got the basic safety stuff turned on. However, the MG Pilot we've found is not really usable around town at all. It's more of a hindrance and an annoyance than anything. If you were regularly doing freeway driving, etc., it would be great once you got used to it. However, for us, it's not really what this car's used for. 80% of this car will be just running around town. So we found that we're not really using that. Collision avoidance as well. I had that on the other night, testing it a little bit again in suburban sort of streets, and actually got a fright. It kicked in as there was a car in the left-hand slip lane, so they were turning left into a residential housing estate. I was in the right-hand lane passing them, and obviously as I went to pass it, I was about 3-4 metres from the car, which was clearly in the left-hand lane. We were obviously a little bit too close, and the collision avoidance kicked in, and I thought the electric motor was going to fall out of the car. And that was obviously because it's only the first time it's happened. The car vibrates to obviously wake you up if you're asleep. You have an instant loss of power, so the car basically just loses power. You get this shaking, and I just thought, whoa, what the hell happened? And I was actually recording it, so when I looked back through the recordings, I noticed that the collision avoidance flashed up on the screen. So I thought, that makes sense, that's what it was. And I immediately turned it off, because it's certainly not something that I want happening while I'm driving around suburbia. And it was totally unnecessary either, because there was no chance of an impact. It was just that obviously the car that was turning left was within the parameters that kicked off the safety thing. So again, that's just a personal thing. Some people might find it more reassuring, but anyway, that's an initial thought, and like I said, we'll do a lot more video on that. Well guys, I've rambled on enough. I hope you find our videos valuable, and we'll be doing lots more of them in the future on general owning an EV in Australia, what to expect, etc., how to navigate, and also more specifically on the MG ZS EV. As I mentioned, if you haven't, please subscribe, share with your friends, and we look forward to doing more videos for you. Thanks for watching.